Hi Leo, welcome to your July 2016 love reading. It's Raina here. So, let's see what's going on. I can't believe that I'm already doing July readings. It just seems like I did June. And it's only a few days earlier than I did June, so time is just really flying. Alrighty. Trying to make sure you can see all of this. Sorry. I'm going to have to. Wow. That's nice. Interesting. Let me see if I can turn this to get the whole shot in. Okay. So, the overall energy. Now, as the month begins, the sun will be in your 12th house, okay? And then it goes into Leo at the end of July, obviously. So you have a little bit of that reflected in some of the more psychic energy. Even this card is connected to Neptune, I believe. So anyway, the overall energy is the Six of Pentacles. Just going by actual people, we could say that it's somebody who gives out money. So perhaps you're dealing with somebody who works in the banking industry, but it could also be somebody who is in of the signs, the earth signs. So it could be a Taurus or a Virgo or Capricorn, or somebody who is a fire sign or an air sign and has a lot of earth in them. You know, I'm a fire sign, I'm a Sagittarian, and I have a lot of earth in me. And so that sometimes comes out, especially if it's the rising sign, because that's the first thing that people usually see. And so they get attracted to that part of that person, but really they have this additional layer of being a fire sign or whatever, or air sign. But anyhow, the Six of Pentacles relates to, you know, money and resources, and who's giving and who's taking. You see that this man looks like royalty or somebody in the community that has, you know, the 1%, and he's got his gold coin, and you have these outstretched hands. And so it is a card about generosity if you have it to give. Sometimes it can indicate that you get money, but you know, this is a reading related to romance, and he is holding those scales. So it's about fairness, balance. Sometimes it comes out in relationships where one person feels like they're giving and the other person's taking. Or maybe, you know, you don't even feel like you're getting taken advantage of, but you are. The thing about it too, is that Leo is a very generous sign. So I could see one of those scenarios cropping up where you're with somebody who is taking more than they're giving. But I really don't like to phrase it that way, because I just like this notion that we're supposed to have 50-50 partnerships in every area of our life. I just don't believe that. I think that puts love into some kind of a business arrangement, and it's just not so. When you really care about somebody, it's not about keeping books on what you did for them and blah blah blah. It's really doing it from the heart and not expecting anything in return. But this may have nothing to do with that. It could be that, let's look at the recent past. We have the Page of Cups. So, right off the bat, I think of a child, and I think of somebody, this could be alimony. You might be getting money from somebody else. Maybe you were thinking of your child and you decided to get a divorce because your household was a toxic environment for your child. In some cases, it may relate to a person who is a water sign individual that you used to be with, and now you're with an earth sign. And as I keep saying recently, I used to be very dogmatic about, telling people of different elements not to get together. Like I would say with a Leo person, no, don't get with an earth sign and don't get with a water sign person because they're going to be too restrictive for you. But I've just been receiving so many comments from people that say that they're with such people, and sometimes they may be challenging relationships, but they remain with these people for whatever the reason. And you can when you look at the personal charts of people, you can see what brings them together that you don't necessarily see on the surface by just looking at their sun signs. Obviously, this is a general reading, so maybe some of these scenarios that I bring up don't resonate with you, have anything to do with your life. So I can only speak of a few things, or I'd be here all day. But yeah, the pages can refer to actual children, but it can be just the emotional nature of somebody, because this is a water sign energy, so there's an emotional component to this person, and it could be somebody who is just very idealistic and naive, and is easily led astray. You see that this fish is jumping out of the cup, so it could be a Pisces. But it's not, I don't think it's connected to Pisces specifically. I think it's just all the water signs. I could be wrong about that, of course, but it's definitely got that Piscean feel of a creative energy, but a very naive, innocent type of energy. So if you were dealing with somebody who was a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or has that prominent in their chart, and recently met up with an earth sign individual, you may find that the earth sign person is more grounded and more practical and less, of a dreamer. And a lot of people don't realize this, or maybe you do, is that Leo is considered a very good leader when he or she is exhibiting the positive traits of Leo. And so this also extends to business. And so you do see Leos, and they're entrepreneurs, and they're doing their thing because Leo is the ruler of the fifth house. And one of the things about the fifth house is having your own business. And with Leo, it's always that personal stamp that they're putting on things. Their personality, their creativity, they put on whatever it is that they do, and they want to create this brand. So perhaps, I was trying to think, where am I going with this? I don't know where I am going with this, but, I was just saying that maybe you would be more attracted to somebody who is an earth sign because of those natural tendencies towards being an entrepreneur and doing things that are more practical, being a business person. Even though you're a fire sign, it's funny how the wands as a suit in the tarot connect to the fire signs, and yet it also connects to business. It's supposed to be a suit connected with creativity, but until recently, I never thought of having a business as being creative, and yet it is. So, it just all kind of goes together. Talk about going off on a tangent, huh? In a love reading. But anyway, the higher message is the Queen of Cups. So there's more of this intuitive energy. But this is you. It's like a double feminine energy. And even if you're a man, you have a feminine side. Leo as a sign is a masculine sign. So this is kind of a change of pace for you. It's tapping into the feminine principle, but also laying low or holding off or being more receptive rather than aggressive or, outward in your, how you direct your energy. So that probably, as a message from the universe, is saying that wins the day in any of your relationships rather than trying to direct things. Because there is this tendency in Leos to be very authoritative. And if that means similar to authoritarian, no, that authoritarian is a different word altogether. But just kind of presenting yourself as somebody who is in charge, a leader, a natural leader. And for women, and most of the people watching this will be women, and especially those who are attracted to men, this can sometimes get you into trouble because you may be a very dominant type of an energy, and dominant can turn into domineering. I immediately thought of Madonna, who is a Leo. And if you remember when she got with Guy Ritchie, guess what sign Guy Ritchie is? He is a Virgo. So this Virgo's earth energy, feminine energy, earth and water. So if you ever saw a tabloid or you ever saw them on TV together, there was this definite feeling I got of her being the dominant force in that relationship, even though he is I think he makes movies, it still felt like she was calling the shots, and sure enough, they ended up getting divorced. And sure enough, they ended up getting divorced. But the moral of the story isn't that she should have been a little woman in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you can still be the queen and still be have a feeling of personal power, and yet not have to constantly try to rearrange the pieces on the chessboard. You can allow things to happen sometimes, and also go within. Not always try to control the outer world. That's all I'm saying. The underlying influence, or the subtle influence, is the Hanged Man. And this is just what I was saying, actually. That I think maybe you're unconscious of, but would probably be a good idea if you are in initial stages with some person, is that you just assess the relationship, especially if it's new, because what can happen is when you try to exert too much force too soon, that can also work against your favor. Sometimes hanging back, even though this isn't really, they're not saying hanging out and hanging back, but hanging out, letting go and letting God. What's the other phrase? Going within. Sometimes these things allow for the relationship or whatever you're trying to accomplish to unfold at a more natural and, dare we say, organic way. A lot of times when people try to push things, they end up creating a sort of frenzied energy, and especially in personal relationships. It may be very successful strategy to do this on the job, in your career, but in your personal life, it may cause rifts because other people do not like to be dominated or pushed, prodded, anything. And also, relationships have to unfold at their own natural speed, and when we get so caught up in, I want to, especially if you want to have children or something like that, and you're looking at your biological clock and all this stuff, it can make you, or you think it's making you, need to have things happen at a quicker pace. And then you don't get to know somebody thoroughly. The energy that is kind of in the spotlight for you is the Star card. And that's, I always ooh and ah over this card because it's so, I just think it's so cool and positive. There can be an Aquarian, and this is your opposite sign. Maybe there's an Aquarian who's like in your face and you're just not seeing the person. Maybe you're not valuing who they are. You're looking at the money, you know. And that's the other thing I want to say, because sometimes, you know, Leo does get caught up in materialism. And this Aquarian, if there's an Aquarian in the picture, this is the other half of your whole, you know, your complementary signs on the zodiac wheel. And even though you oppose Aquarius, that opposition is still considered two parts of one whole. Each provides what the other lacks. And you have that creative force, you have the personal touch, you have the warmth. Aquarius sees humanity as a whole. They're non-judgmental. They're able to touch, you know, many, many people. And they also have kind of this vision or foresight. And so together, you really do have a lot in common. Obviously, not every Leo and Aquarian will be compatible, that's for sure. But as two signs and two elements go, it really is a good match. So if there is some Aquarian who may be a little bit offbeat, may not be, you know, what you had envisioned for yourself, maybe this person's a hippie, or maybe if you live in an area with a bunch of hippies, he's a banker, you know. Aquarius isn't necessarily going to be one way or the other. They just tend to kind of like to rebel against whatever is the norm. The Star card also says that you will be in a hopeful place right now for whatever the reason. And maybe it's because as the sun goes into your sign, you're just feeling more alive anyway. You know, you're ruled by the sun. And so the sun going into your sign is even more significant. And that can help you be more attractive because it helps you attract more to you, and that can include people to you. So the advice is the Two of Wands. This is somebody who may be making a decision. I'm thinking it's you. And it may be a decision between safety, as represented in the earth element, as well as the idea of somebody who is financially secure, versus someone who may be more of a catalyst for your passions. And you're also possibly thinking of choosing between somebody who lives overseas. Maybe you are thinking of traveling, or maybe you are in a foreign country and there's a person there that you've met and you were connected to somebody who is an earth sign or what have you. And so it is a question of questioning whether you're in the right place, whether your life is too safe. That does come up. And in relationships, it often does mean that somebody has been putting too much emphasis on one aspect of the relationship, such as financial security. The outcome is the Judgment card. And the Judgment card is a rebirth. So I feel that you are going to be seeing some sort of new chapter in your life and a feeling of release. Again, I had touched upon divorce earlier, and for some of you, The Judgment card may mean that you will be getting some sort of legal judgment, and that will mean that you have a sense of starting over and having a purification of sorts because of a toxic relationship. Obviously, it doesn't have to mean that by any stretch of the imagination, but whatever it is, you created the situation, good or not so good. You put energy into whatever it was that you were a part of. And this is what I always try to stress to people, Leo, is that even if you're in a negative situation, just remember that you have more power than sometimes is apparent. And if you don't like where you're at, just realize that this is just one moment in time, and there are going to be many future moments that may be a lot more pleasant and exciting and more in alignment with your soul's purpose. And it's just, when you get this Judgment card, it really kind of sums up where your consciousness was at in the past. I love this quote, but I don't know who said it. And they said, whatever you see right now is actually a reflection of the past. A lot of people get caught up in, when they're trying to change things, being freaked out by what's happening right now and not realizing that it's not where you're at right now. It was where you were at the time that you made the decisions that created that situation. But now you want to change, and so you're in a totally different place. And just having that shift can create a space for you to actually believe that something can get better, because otherwise things can, fall into a rut, and people can feel like they don't have any control over their lives. And so getting the Judgment card simply means that there is a new you that is waiting to emerge, and it's going to be wonderful, I think, especially since your birthday is either in July or August. So happy birthday to those of you who are born in July, Leo. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a personal reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great July. Bye.